Fluoroquinolones actually exhibit area under the curve / minimum inhibitory concentration dependent killing, which is also known as AUC/MIC dependent killing. Well, like I told you earlier, fluoroquinolones actually exhibit bactericidal activity. Now, this activity is more pronounced as serum drug concentrations increase to about 30-fold of the MIC of the bacteria. In general, fluoroquinolones are effective against gram-negative organisms, atypical organisms, gram-positive organisms, and some mycobacteria. Well, so that it's easier for you to revise, I have displayed the examples of each of these categories for you. You must remember that fluoroquinolones are typically not used for the treatment of Staphylococcus aureus or enterococcal infections. They are not effective against syphilis and have limited utility against Neisseria gonorrhea due to disseminated resistance worldwide. Now, levofloxacin and moxifloxacin are sometimes referred to as respiratory fluoroquinolones because they have excellent activity against Streptococcus pneumonia, which is actually a common cause of community-acquired pneumonia, or CAP. Now, talking about moxifloxacin, it has activity against many anaerobes. And the fluoroquinolones that are commonly considered alternatives for patients with a documented severe beta-lactam allergy. Now, what are common beta-lactams? Which are penicillins. Now, let's talk about the other types of fluoroquinolones as well. So, norfloxacin. It is rarely prescribed due to poor oral availability and a short half-life. It is effective in treating non-systemic infections such as urinary tract infections, prostatitis, and infectious diarrhea. Now, talking about ciprofloxacin, now it is effective in the treatment of many systemic infections as well that are mostly caused by gram-negative bacteria. And of all the fluoroquinolones, it has the best activity against Pseudomonas aeruginosa and is commonly used in cystic fibrosis patients for this indication. With over 80% bioavailability, the intravenous and oral formulations are frequently interchanged. Traveler's diarrhea that is caused by E. coli, as well as typhoid fever caused by Salmonella typhi, can be effectively treated with ciprofloxacin. Ciprofloxacin is also used as a second-line agent in the treatment of tuberculosis. Although typically it is dosed twice, an extended-release formulation is also available for once daily dosing, which may actually improve patient adherence to treatment. Now, levofloxacin, or you can also pronounce it as levofloxacin, is the L isomer of ofloxacin, and it has largely replaced it clinically. Why is that so? Well, it is because of its broad spectrum of activity. Now, levofloxacin is utilized in a wide range of infections, including prostatitis, skin infections, and pneumonia. Now, unlike ciprofloxacin, levofloxacin has excellent activity against Streptococcus pneumonia, respiratory infections. And levofloxacin has 100% bioavailability and is dosed once daily. Now, talking about moxifloxacin, which is also a type of fluoroquinolone, it has not only enhanced activity against gram-positive organisms, for example, Streptococcus pneumonia, but it also has excellent activity against many anaerobes, although resistance has been reported in Bacteroides fragilis. It is observed that it has poor activity against Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Now, moxifloxacin does not concentrate in the urine, so it is not indicated for the treatment of urinary tract infections. So now that we have talked about the antimicrobial spectrum of each of the fluoroquinolones, I keep on talking about that they have shown resistance in some bacteria. So, in the next section, let's talk about the possible mechanisms of this resistance.